No man is free who is not master of himself. Picketus, let us pause here for a moment and let these words settle. They are not casual advice. They are not simply a quote to be liked, posted, or framed on a wall. They are a quiet, enduring challenge, a call to personal sovereignty in a world that constantly tries to make you a servant of everything else. What does it mean to be master of yourself? It means, at the most basic level, to live your life not by accident, but by intention. To be the one holding the steering wheel of your time, your thoughts, your emotional energy, instead of letting everyone and everything else take the wheel without even asking. Share your thought in the comment. Do us a favor by hitting the subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on notification so you never miss an update. Now consider this often overlooked truth. Every time you say yes to one thing, you are, by definition, saying no to something else. And what you're saying no to might be invisible in the moment. Your rest, your creative time, your peace of mind, your mental clarity, your children, your health, your art, your stillness, your sanity. But make no mistake, there is always a cost. Time, energy, focus, attention. These are not bottomless wells from which you can draw indefinitely. They are precious, exhaustible resources. And yet, we hand them out like party favors, to things we don't value, to people we don't trust, to obligations we didn't choose, to fears we haven't named. Why? Because we are afraid. Not of being busy, but of being judged. Afraid of what people will think if we say no. Afraid of seeming selfish, or difficult, or not a team player. Afraid of guilt, of confrontation, of the silence that sometimes follows a boundary. So we say yes, again and again. We say yes when our body is tired. We say yes when our mind is overloaded. We say yes when our gut says don't. We say yes because we've been taught that good people say yes, and that boundaries are somehow rude, or cold, or ungrateful. But here's the paradox. The more we say yes to everything and everyone, the more we disappear from our own lives. Saying yes out of guilt is not generosity. It's fear in disguise. Saying yes out of habit is not kindness. It's disconnection from your own truth. Saying yes without reflection is not responsibility. It's self-abandonment wearing a smile. And perhaps most dangerously of all, when we become too available to everything, we become deeply unavailable to the most important things, the people we love, the goals that matter, the quiet voice of inner wisdom that only speaks when we are still enough to hear it. Imagine your life as a house. Every yes is a door you open. Say yes to too many guests, and soon your house is overflowing. There's no space to move, to breathe, to think. The furniture is buried. The floor is crowded. Your own presence gets lost in the noise. And worst of all, you don't even remember inviting half of these people in. Mastery of self begins when you realize this. Not every door needs to be opened. Not every invitation needs a yes. Not every demand deserves your attention. Freedom is not doing whatever you want, whenever you want. Freedom is knowing what to say no to, and having the strength, clarity, and courage to actually say it. So when Epictetus says, "No man is free who is not master of himself," he is not talking about external circumstances. He is not concerned with whether you live under democracy or dictatorship, whether you are rich or poor, whether you are young or old. He is talking about a deeper kind of liberty, the inner kind, the kind you carry with you into every decision, every conversation, every moment of your life. And so we return to that first, uncomfortable truth. Every yes is a no to something else. The only question is, what are you willing to say no to? And more importantly, what are you finally ready to say yes to? Today, I want to explore something deceptively simple, yet quietly revolutionary: the art of saying no. Not the harsh, reactive no that burns bridges or bruises egos. Not the defensive no that comes from bitterness or burnout. And certainly not the careless no that's flung out with apathy or indifference. That's not the kind of no I'm talking about. No. The no I want to speak of today is something far more refined. Something sculpted with self-awareness, softened by empathy, and sharpened by clarity. Before we continue, do us a favor by hitting the subscribe button. Let continue. I'm talking about the intentional no. The thoughtful number. The kind of no that doesn't slam doors shut, but quietly, respectfully chooses a different one. The kind of no that's not designed to offend, but to protect. The no that arises not from arrogance, but from alignment. The no that comes not from fear, but from wisdom. This no is a quiet form of power, the kind most people never realize they have. It is a shield for your time, a guardian of your energy, a signal to yourself and to the world. I know who I am, I know what matters, and I know what I can and cannot hold. It is not a rejection of people, but a recognition of limits. It is not an attack on others, but an affirmation of yourself. It is not about control, it is about care. You see, in a culture that constantly pushes us to be more productive, more available, more helpful, more involved, more agreeable, saying no can feel like betrayal. It can feel like failure. It can feel like letting someone down. But here's the paradox. When you say yes to everything and everyone, you slowly begin to betray yourself. You become overcommitted, under-rested, and emotionally scattered. Your calendar fills up, but your soul runs dry. Your voice becomes softer, your presence diluted. You begin to vanish, not all at once, but in tiny, invisible ways. That's why this no matters. This no isn't just about boundaries. It's about honoring your life. It's about protecting what is sacred and finite within you. Your time, your energy, your attention, your peace. It is the no that says, I could help, but I would be doing so at the cost of something vital to me. It is the no that says, I value our relationship enough to be honest with you. It is the no that says, I don't have the capacity right now, and I won't pretend that I do. And what's beautiful, almost poetic, about this kind of no is that it creates space. It clears clutter. It opens the window to let your yes breathe again. Because when you learn to say no with intention, your yes becomes more precious. It becomes rooted in choice rather than guilt. It becomes an act of presence, not performance. It becomes wholehearted. You begin to say yes to what really matters, the project that lights you up, the relationship that brings you alive, the rest your body desperately needs, the solitude your soul craves, the laughter, the slow morning, the time with people you love. You say yes, not because you have to, but because you want to. Not because you're afraid to disappoint, but because you're excited to give from a place of fullness, not depletion. And that, in its essence, is the real gift of a meaningful no. It's not just a refusal, it's an act of deep respect for your own life, for your values, for the limited time you have on this earth. So yes, today I want to talk about the art of saying no, the noble kind, the brave kind, the deeply human kind, the kind that doesn't just draw a line, but draws you closer to the life you were meant to live. 1. The disease to please. There's a peculiar thing about being human. We crave belonging. It's ancient. It's wired into our biology. Our ancestors survived in groups, not in solitude. So we evolved to read approval on faces, to avoid rejection, to say yes when our insides scream no. This is the disease to please, and it's rampant. You say yes to working late again because your boss is watching. You say yes to dinner because you don't want to disappoint a friend. You say yes to volunteering even when your body is begging for rest. You say yes to an event when your soul wants a quiet night in. And every time you do that, a little part of you disappears. 2. The false virtue of self-erasure. Somehow, we've made self-erasure a virtue. We've romanticized sacrifice without measure. We've confused being agreeable with being good. We've mistaken being available for being valuable. But hear me now. Kindness and boundaries are not enemies. Saying no is not unkind. It's clear. It's honest. It's human. There is no gold medal for exhaustion, no reward for bitterness, no trophy for being the most overextended version of yourself. You cannot give what you no longer have. 3. Philosophical roots. The Stoic no. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom isn't the absence of rules, it's the presence of self-rule. What does it mean to be a master of yourself? It means you can examine your desires, that you can resist the pull of guilt, that you can choose your yes and your no, based not on impulse, but on principle. To say no when you need to is not selfish, it is sovereign. It is the realization that your time is not an unlimited pool.